Hi, welcome to A&B Jukebox Repair's new video series, You Can Do It. And truly, you can do it. Today's discussion is going to be on removing a Philips CD Pro player out of a Rose CD model jukebox, and then we're going to install a Philips Pro player into a Rose CD model jukebox. So we're going to be doing the removal and the installation. But before we do, we're going to do a little review of what we're going to be doing here. Okay. This is a Philips CD Pro player. If you look at it physically, you'll see that it has these legs with springs on each corner. So you have 4 legs and 4 springs. On the right side, facing the front, you have 3 plugs. You're only going to use one of these plugs, this one on the far right. On the bottom side, it'll say the word power on it. That's the connection that you really got to be concerned about, the power connection. On the back side, there's 2 plugs. One of these is for data, and the other one's for audio. But you keep in mind, there's 2 plugs of the same size. One on the front has 4-position wire harness, and one on the back has a 4-position wire harness. So, when you look at the harness, this is the harness you're going to be working with. There's 3 connectors. 2 of them are the same size, but one of them has a black line along it. That's the critical wire you have to be concerned about. This is the power connection. These 2 are different size, so they're pretty much foolproof on when you go to plug them in. When we plug in a Rose CD, a Pro player into a Rose jukebox, you're going to be noticing that the one on the front, the far right, is the power connection. And that's the one with the black line on it. And you're going to be plugging it in, just push it in like so. The 2 on the back are pretty foolproof with a different size plugs, and there's no black lines on them. Again, this is the data connection, and this is the audio. So basically, that's exactly how you do it. But before we do, we're going to go over now and install one and remove one out of a Rose CD model jukebox. So I'm going to put this down, and we'll come back and do a review when we're done. Okay, and we're going over to one of my test stations. I'm going to put the title page assembly in so you can see what it's going to be like on your jukebox. We don't have doors on our test jukeboxes because we removed the doors so we can easily get in and out whenever we want to work on them. Yours will have a door, so you're going to open your lid and then support it with one of your piston supports or any way you want. This is a title page assembly. You see, we have to remove this to get at the player and mechanism. So to do that, you always want to put the power off. Whenever you unplug something electrically, you want to unplug it. Shut the power off. We did that. So now this one plug, 6-position plug on the left-hand corner at the top, is for this page unit. It's a Molex plug, and you're just going to push on the 2 tabs and pull straight out. Once you get that, you can lift the whole unit out and then put it aside someplace. Okay, now we're going to get at the meat and potatoes here. The actual procedure of taking out and installing the CD player. There's only one tool we're going to need today, and that's a nut driver, a 1/4-inch ball nut driver. This is the only tool you need. Okay, so I said you can do it, and truly you can do this task. So basically, you're going to get down. There's 2 ways of shutting the power off. You can shut it off in the back of the jukebox, or you can, by the service switch right here, there's a power on-off, and there's also a service switch. We're going to put the power to off. When you switch the power to off, the lights on the computer should go out. You see the computer lights? You want to make sure the lights on the computer and the mechanism control right here, they go off. When they go off, that means the power is off to the circuit boards. Now we can proceed. Before you handle a CD player or touch a player, you want to touch a piece of metal with your finger. This is to discharge any static electricity that might be in your body. This is very important. A lot of people wear these little ground type wrist bracelets. In this case, really all you have to do is touch metal. Touch both of your hands, just touch metal. You discharge any static electricity. You might get a little spark the first time you do it, that's okay. So now we get the static electricity discharged in our body. So now we can proceed. So the power is off. We're going to lift up the hold down plate, and you take a 1/4-inch ball nut driver and you remove the 2 L brackets which keep it from coming out if you move the jukebox. So we're going to take the first one off like so. Put it right here. Take the second one out like so. Okay. Once you do that, the player actually just rests on these rubber grommets right there, these 4 rubber grommets, and you have the springs and legs. They just lift straight up. As they do so, you see the plug here to the far right? This is the power connection. This is the one with the black line on it. So we're going to carefully just pull straight out, like that. And the back side, I'm going to turn this around so you can see. See the 2 plugs on the back side? Okay, again, this is the audio, and this is the data. You're going to pull it straight out. 1, 2. That's it. We've removed the CD player. Okay, so now we're going to go just reverse to install it. You've got your CD player back. Let's say you had it repaired or you got a replacement player. Now again, you always want to touch a piece of metal before handling the player, which we already discharged our body's static electricity, so that's okay. So if you go and just lay it in place, you'll see that it sits on those 4 rubber grommets like so. Okay, but of course we have to plug it in before we actually rest it on there. I want you to pay attention to the word CD Pro. That is to the right as you're looking at it. And you see how the hold down plate with the magnetic hub, it lines up right with the center spindle. Okay, just like that. If you reverse it, it's not going to line up. I'll show you that right here. If you reverse it, the hub's up here now and your spindle's over here. So that's important that you make sure the CD Pro is facing to the right as you're standing in front of it, like so. But before we do that, we have to plug it in. So you always want to plug in, find your connectors, find the one that has a black line on it, the power connection. That's going to go in the front. Do not leave that one out for now. Go ahead and plug in your data and your audio plug. Now you can go ahead and plug in your power connection, like so. You go ahead and rest it down on the grommets and make sure move it a little bit so it's rested good. If you want to test it first before we put on the brackets, it's a good idea. Okay, now we put the power back on. Take it, power on. Let's do a quick test. Sounds good. CD player is spinning really nice and smooth, a consistent spin. It's not slowing down, it's not speeding up, it's just consistently spinning at one constant speed. That's good. That's a good sign that the play is working properly. We're going to reject this now, and we're going to go back to the other room, and I'm going to show you. We're going to have a review of what we just did. Okay, first let's put these brackets back on before I forget. Okay, again, they just sit right in this position right here. You take your 1/4-inch ball nut driver, and you go ahead and you screw in this one. Again, this is just for when you're moving the jukebox. It keeps the player from falling out. And this is just a little added protection in case you're moving the jukebox. That's all it's for. As you can see, the player sits freely on the grommets. It's not bolted down where it's really hitting anything. These brackets are sitting over the player. They're just for precaution. They're not there to keep it in place. It rides freely on those rubber grommets. Okay, let's go back to get a review. Okay, one thing I didn't tell you was this. If you improperly plug in this harness, you can blow the player. If you were to take this power connection and plug it on the back side, you would blow this circuit board underneath, and you might blow the mechanism control board next to it. So it's very critical that you point out where the power connection is. Again, it's on the far right as the front side, and it's also listed underneath the player where it says power, right there in very small letters. So that is critical. When do you know there's a bad CD player? Well, there's 3 things you look for. You look to see if it's playing the CD. Does the CD spin freely? Is the CD spinning constantly? is the audio playing. Most of the times when CD players go bad, it will start stopping and starting, stopping and starting. The player might spin like 2 spins and stop, 2 spins and stop. Or it's not going to spin at all. You will see no spins at all. Sometimes you'll get conditions where the audio cuts in and out, in and out. That's a sign that the player is going bad also. So these 3 things are these are signs you should look for when you trying to identify a bad player. I hope you've enjoyed being a part of our video session today on removing and installing a CD Pro player into a Rose CD model jukebox. A&B Jukebox Repair repairs these players. We've been doing them for about 17 years now. If you are in need to have a player tested, repaired, or exchanged, please consider A&B Jukebox Repair. We love to serve you and for you to be one of our customers. We thank you, and we hope you'll join us for our next session on Jukebox Repair. Thank you.